The U.S. Soccer Podcast has gone big time. We are at the United Nations for the General Assembly, one of the biggest events of the year, and we are here in New York City to talk to a panelist who is also the executive director of U.S. Soccer's Soccer Forward Foundation, Lex Chalat. We'll be talking to her about the initiatives that they're rolling out to create more access to the game leading into the 2026 World Cup and expanding the sport in the country for years to come. Okay, Lex, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. And by here, I mean at the United Nations.
Yeah, it's an honor. I'm super excited about this.
I'm very excited as well. I've never been to the United Nations. This is less new for you, but
I'm excited about the podcast. You're excited about the UN.
Yes. So tell us a little of why are we here? What's happening at the United Nations that U.S. Soccer is involved in?
Yep, well, it's UN week. If people don't know, that's when New York gets crazy and we have heads of state from all over the world come to discuss and advocate for key issues. And sport has really started playing a big role in those conversations over the last few years. And the UN has really advocated for that and endorsed it and encouraged it. And U.S. Soccer is here today because actually the sort of more public-facing SDG zone, which is where there are panel discussions about key issues around the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, really was focusing on soccer and what's happening next summer with the Men's World Cup coming here, obviously. But also what soccer can achieve when it comes to these key issues that the UN has been advocating for decades.
It's amazing. I thought of coming in the places soccer takes you. Like, I think very few people come to the United Nations.
No limit there.
Yeah. But it is a sport that is so universal all over that it seems like a clear avenue to affect a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that is really where my background is. That's my true passion, is really the power of sport. I know we all believe it. We all know it, especially if you've played. You can feel what that means for you as a person or you as a teammate. But truly, I believe that when achieved intentionally, soccer can really change lives. It can address key social issues. It can create systemic change. I really believe that. And I've seen it over the course of my very long career, now over 15 years in sports and social change, and specifically soccer. I've really seen that in over 30 countries where I've worked and lived. So it's real.
Let's talk about your career, because 2026 won't be your first World Cup. How did you get here? What have you worked on?
Yes, I think this will be my fourth World Cup that I've worked on in some capacity, but particularly as it pertains to legacy. I'm not saying that I, organized or directed traffic or anything, definitely not. But have worked on the legacy of World Cups from South Africa to Brazil to most recently spent the last 4 years in Qatar, working in Qatar Foundation for the royal family around how the first Arab Middle East World Cup really came to life afterward and how that made an impact on that region. And for Qatar Foundation, and for me, that work really manifested itself in opportunities for women and girls in sports across the region. And I spent my time there really looking at what that means for that region, what women and girls really needed there, and how I could support. And over the course of that time, we did some incredible things. We transformed the World Cup Stadium on Qatar Foundation's campus to a home for women and girls sports, where thousands of women and girls now go and participate on an ongoing regular basis, which is incredible. That's a world first. That's not a Middle East first. That's a world first. And that was just so inspiring. South Africa was incredible, that time, the energy, the vibe, what did that mean for the country afterwards, looking at things like education and access to education as a result of new soccer pitches being built across the country, new people who hadn't gotten access to the game, what does that mean for them, who maybe hadn't culturally seen themselves as part of the game. So that was incredible. And I'm just really excited to bring all of that experience here to my hometown, or my home turf, really, home country. And there's just so much opportunity with the 2026 Men's World Cup coming to this country for the first time in 30 years. What does that mean? What does that mean for U.S. soccer? What does it mean for the sport? So that's what I'm here to do, and I'm excited about it.
You talk about opportunity now to bring all of this home. You are in charge of the Soccer Forward Foundation. Tell people a little bit about what that is, and then we're going to talk about some of the initiatives that are coming forward.
Yeah, so Soccer Forward really was launched by U.S. Soccer last year as the legacy initiative, knowing that there are these incredible opportunities. Yes, next summer, but also LA 28, and now the Women's World Cup in 2031, just amazing opportunities for the sport in this country. But also that U.S. Soccer has kind of gone over a transformation over the last few years in terms of what it stands for and what we believe and what our mission is, and that's really that soccer is a force for good, and healthy, happy, connected communities mean communities that play soccer, and we know that that's important. So Soccer Forward is really coming at that from a lens of community, grassroots, but also just participation in the game at every level, and ensuring quality and excellence, but also accessibility. So we've really worked hard over the last year to stand that up and what it means, and we're kicking off some exciting initiatives in the coming weeks that really reflect what we heard from our ecosystem, from the soccer community at large. We really didn't want to come in and overlay a program or an initiative that someone else was doing, or that something had been tried a bunch of times and not worked. We really didn't want to do that. There's incredible work happening in communities across the country where people and organizations are using soccer to address issues in their communities. They're making people happy every day. They're doing a great job. We wanted to hear from them what we could do as Soccer Forward. And what we heard was, we are doing a great job, but we need resources, we need tools. We really need to be empowered to do this better, do it more. We need to be unified. Our narrative around why soccer and why soccer benefits communities sometimes gets lost amongst, the other noise of other sports, other interventions, et cetera. There's a lot going on, the 30-second news cycle, et cetera. So that's what we've set out to do. And in the coming weeks, we're kicking off the first phase of a resource hub, which collects amazing tools and research and case studies and trainings from great organizations across the country who are addressing how soccer can be used in communities. We're also super excited that U.S. Soccer, with the expertise and the experience within the Federation, are developing tools and resources as well. And we will be sharing the first iteration of a living and breathing toolkit that really looks at soccer at schools and how you can get soccer in your school, in your community, whether you're a soccer club or whether you're a parent or whether you're an excited PE teacher, how can you do that? And then what's some of the ways that you can really engage and excite kids in there. And so that's kind of the first areas that we're focusing on. And the other areas that we're really committed to are that we know that there's a huge need for more places to play across the country, but also once there are places to play, what that looks like and how we ensure that it's accessible and inclusive of those that might not have been able to play there, but also maybe someone that was kind of intimidated or didn't really see themselves in our game. Like, how are we engaging them in these spaces? So we're really focusing on that, building out tools and resources, advocacy for people to get more places to play, but then also good practices on what that looks like, as well as facilitating more resources. We know funding is important. We know investment is important. And we're really trying to come to the table there as well. And long term, we're truly committed to having a real localized impact, and we know that that's important. So identifying great practices of how soccer organizations are working together in communities and how, as U.S. Soccer, can uniquely show up for them so that they can really change the landscape of their community through the game.
You mentioned talking to people and seeing what they needed. What was that experience like, and what was the feedback like? How much of it was there? What have you guys gone through there?
I cannot take credit for this. This is the U.S. Soccer team, the soccer growth team, the member services team, talked to our ecosystem in the soccer community for 18 months about this and really assessed it and listened. And it's an incredible approach that they took. I also, have been here 9 months, but I was also supporting the Federation for 6 months before. Supported in my experience. I mentioned I've, been around. I've worked on every continent. I've built soccer spaces with my own two hands and linked arms with communities that were looking at how they could use the sport to address finance literacy or gender equality or kids that are facing bullying or trauma in every corner of the world, truly. And really trying to bring that experience and that lens, because I really believe, and this is shown up in my work, whether I've been in Doha or in Atlanta or in the Bay Area or in Cape Town, the community typically knows what they need. And they typically are doing a really good job with what they have. And they usually just need some support and some additional resources, whether those be tools or whether that be credibility or whether that be some tips on advocacy or whether it be funding. That really can light the spark that wasn't there before. So bringing that sort of view and approach that we're here to serve. We're here to serve the sport. We're here to serve communities. That's really what we're about. And that's what that long kind of approach of really understanding what everyone needs so that we can build that really came in handy.
I wonder, though, as an American who's gone out in the world, the sport is very obvious of if you want to penetrate communities in Africa, Asia, and all that, of course it's soccer. Did you think you'd ever have that to bring back to the US? Did you ever think that, yes, that will be the game we use to connect the community here in the US?
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, the thing is that I started off, I was a gymnast like all my life, right? Like, everyone comes at this with a different angle. And I started off my career, in Southwest Philly, understanding that like a coach could truly change the dynamic of how, a community showed up and what happened there. And for me, it really didn't matter the sport. Basketball has incredible assets, karate, like rugby. I've seen it all, seen how dance can truly change the lives of women who have experienced trauma in India, or a rugby team in Venezuela that, turned gang members into leaders, like really amazing stuff in all sports. But even before I really worked in soccer officially, it was very clear across the board, whether it was about impact or investment, that soccer was far and beyond the most effective tool. It is accessible, it's easy to understand, it can be played truly by anyone, and it has key values that a lot of individual sports might not hold, et cetera. It also is a global language. Yeah. Other sports a lot of the times are quite cultural. In cricket, you can access, an incredible population in Pakistan, for instance, or, basketball, for instance, in certain communities here in the U.S. we always joked, in various parts of Asia, there are larger fans of basketball than here in the U.S., right? But soccer is a constant, and it's a common language. And it is the same everywhere, but it also can be played in really dynamic ways. So even before I kind of became an advocate officially for soccer, you could see that in how many soccer programs got funded, like of the applicants, or the kind of numbers that were coming out of Reach and so forth. So it's an authentic belief that I have, not just one that I hold because I work for U.S. Soccer.
I think that makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about these resources. You talked about initiatives, the hubs that are coming out, and what people can do. How do people get involved with it? How do people get connected?
Yeah, so the resource hub is really crowdsourced. This is about playing it forward, we kind of call it. We really wanted to unify the soccer community, so to speak. We know that there's good resources out there. What we're talking about is it could be a training that you use, that you've seen work. It could be an approach that you have as a coaching education mechanism to reach young people. We have some amazing resources, for instance, around how parents can speak to their kids who have ADHD around soccer. We have tools that kind of give case studies on how you can advocate to get your school district to actually integrate soccer into their school when it wasn't there before. All sorts of things like that. And so if you are willing to come on this journey with us, we would love that. It's not proprietary information that we're asking for. It's what works. We believe that we're stronger together. And there's all sorts of recognition and amplification opportunities with that. And then beyond that, we really want this to be useful. We want people to use these, to come on and use something that makes sense. Check out our starter kit for soccer at schools and see if it was effective and it actually got your class engaged, or you were able to use it as a club to get schools to actually show up in soccer and so forth, and see if it works. And if it does, awesome, tell us. Talk about it, share your impact, and if it doesn't, tell us what you need, because this is a living, breathing thing that we're going to be doing, far beyond the World Cup. So that's one piece of it. The other component of this is that this is really about going on a journey. We want to truly unify the landscape, and through that lens, we are launching in the coming months a campaign that will really help everyone do that and tell their story and showcase why soccer matters to them. And we'll be providing the tools and the resources to do that, whether it be proof points, whether it be assets that you can download, et cetera. And we really see that coming to life during the World Cup. We want not just host cities, but the entire nation to really feel like the World Cup could benefit them and how they engage people in their community. And so we're developing opportunities to do that. And we want this to be a really kind of active and exciting way to bring to life how soccer can benefit communities. So that's the midterm. So the short term is the resource hub, the midterm is looking to the World Cup, and the long term is that we're really looking at how we can get soccer accessible for every school and every community in the country. And we're rolling programs out to do that, and we're working with partners to do that. And we know that there are experts that have done this locally, regionally. Come on this journey with us. We're U.S. Soccer, we are soccer. We want to do this together. So we really hope that people will come on that long-term journey with us, because there's so much to do, and there's so many places that still don't have access to soccer or could expand their access to soccer, or bring that experience to life in a different way. And we want to be that, and we want the legacy of next year's World Cup to be that too.
It's a very grand idea.
It's got to be. It's the world's biggest sporting tournament, and it's the world's most awesome sport. So we've got to be ambitious with what we're doing, but we also know that we want it to be a reality. Like, we truly believe that this is possible.
So how do you benchmark? How do you build towards something like that internally?
I mean, slowly but surely, we listen to people for 18 months. We're building tools and resources that people can share with us if it works or if it doesn't work. We're unifying how people speak about why soccer is beneficial in communities. And then through that lens, we're hoping that we build enough sort of momentum as an ecosystem and as a soccer nation that we can actually do this together. This is not just us. This is everyone.
One of the big conversations, you were on a panel with Robbie Fowler, a former legend player, and some other members, but obviously the athletes are such huge amplifiers of all of this. Talk a little bit about how you work with the ambassadors that you have and the connection that you have to the men's and women's national team and everyone else. I
mean, the players are everything. We know this, right? Like what they have to offer and the role modeling that they have, and especially our teams. You know, you look at our U.S. women's national team and what they did around equal pay, and then how they're just heroes on and off the field. You look at our U.S. men's national team and how much they really care about their communities, whether it's Walker or Chris, like they really care and they're doing stuff, and it's just awesome to see. And something I learned, in my time all over the world, and particularly in Qatar, and it might seem obvious, but I'm going to say it anyways, that representation matters. And it's so crucial in everything. So you can be a really great role model, but even if that young person can't relate to you because they didn't go through the same thing growing up, or they don't have their background, or they don't look like you, or they don't dress like you, it's hard to resonate. And so with Soccer Forward, we really believe in that, and we know how important players are to that. So we have, in addition to kicking off our resource hub and our campaign in the coming months, we are also really excited to be rolling out Soccer Forward ambassadors and engaging our alumni and our players in this conversation. They all really, really care. Some of them, care more than others and have their own, organization, like Tony Senna, who's a Soccer Forward ambassador, or Ali Sentinor, who has been dedicated to this since I think she was like literally a baby.
She currently is, so that makes sense.
But then there's others that are kind of just sort of starting to realize it because they're on the national team, and they realize like, oh, this is what it offered me, or this was the opportunity that I got. I want to go back and do that in my hometown.
Yeah.
So the Soccer Forward ambassadors are very much about amplifying this message, but it's also about how we can help them and what they care about, and how Soccer Forward and U.S. Soccer is showing up for them on the pitch as U.S. Soccer, but also in their community and in the issues that matter to them through Soccer Forward.
Well, Alejandro and Kling didn't come here, so I'll volunteer them to be a part of this because they can't stop it because they're not here. Yeah, well, no, they're already volunteered.
Great, announced.
Yeah, they're fully in. Congratulations. I'm sure
guys.
Kling will be most excited. She already said she'd play beach soccer and futsal, so she's down for everything. You talk about it, how powerful the women's national team is and what they can do. Past 26, you mentioned the Olympics in 28, the Women's World Cup in Brazil, which is going to be a big deal, and then obviously the Women's World Cup here. What do those moments mean for this program and what you're capable of doing beyond that 26 World Cup?
Yep. So Women's World Cup 2031 is just so exciting. It's going to be the biggest World Cup ever, men's or women's. So that's truly exciting, and we're so excited for all of the bid cities and supporting them in what their commitment from a legacy perspective will be, and really hoping that we can help them achieve that through Soccer Forward. But there is a very crucial lens with Soccer Forward and a dedication to excellence and equity in the women's game at every level. So not just at the grassroots, but at that elite level as well. And we're very excited about having a partnership with Kaniska Innovation Hub through a gift from Michelle Kang that came earlier this year, where we merged with that research group. And we now have an incredible group of world leaders in research, particularly around women's health. And who are just changing the game in terms of how we think about performance, environment, health, education, et cetera, and bringing that to life over the next couple of years of how that research will really inform how women experience the game at the elite and professional level, all the way through, ultimately, to our rec leagues and our grassroots communities for girls. And that's really what we're envisaging and building out as it pertains to 2031.
We had a chance to talk with Emma Hayes about the women's national team. Pretty good advocate in there.
Oh my gosh, most inspirational person alive.
Yeah. And told Kling you didn't have to do ice baths. So she felt vindicated on the back of that, which was a really big deal. We started this show actually on June 11th and looking back at the 1994 World Cup and its legacy, and now, of course, looking forward. It's been about 30 years. When you sit down and have conversations with people in this space, what does the next 30 years look like? What is, if we did this show on the back end, and hopefully we won't have to be doing that anymore.
It'll be a brand new thing that we don't even know about.
Yes.
Podcasts.
We'll be beamed
are the thing
in.
Now.
Yes. We'll be beamed in from Mars.
Yeah.
What will the legacy of the 26 World Cup be, and what will the sport look like, you hope, in America?
So when we look back on the legacy of the last World Cup, it was incredible. The birth of MLS, amazing organizations born out of it that really took the game across the country and built the popularity of it. So important. So the growth of the game was a real success factor. And if we look at it now, I mean, it has really been amazing how soccer has grown in this country. Yes, of course, because of '94, but really also because of the '99ers and everything that followed. And I think when we look back at pre-26 and what happened between 94 and 26 and beyond, the 94 to 26 will be about the growth of the game and how much it grew. And 26 and beyond will be about who plays the game, because that's where the unlock is. So we've done a great job of laying this foundation that soccer is a great sport and it can be played at a professional level as well as in rec, et cetera. And that's been amazing. And we've done a gregreat job. Looking at 2026 and beyond, we've got to be looking at who is playing our game and who feels like they belong in our game. And that's a culture piece. But it's also about how we are providing access to who is playing. And for us, that has got to be in schools and after school and in communities. And so looking far beyond, my hope is that every school and community has access to play soccer by 2030. Okay. So when we're looking at 2031, we want there to be somewhere that we want every school and every community to be able to say, there is a place for me to play here. It might not be perfect, it might not be there yet, but that's really what we want to strive for.
Yeah. It's interesting because on the show we've had conversations with the teams in Vermont and people in Hickory, North Carolina, where you realize the sport has roots in a lot of places, but some people just need a little bit of help to sort of get it off the ground or make people realize that they live in a soccer community. Yeah.
And I really want to reiterate that when we say this goal, this is not U.S. soccer's goal. This should be soccer's goal. This is really us doing this together. We cannot do this alone, nor should we be doing this alone. This has got to be a team effort. So just reiterating that goal is for soccer as a country, not just U.S. soccer.
All right, before I let you go, anything people should know that we haven't already gotten into?
Just keep an eye out for our resources and what we're hoping to develop, and please get involved. Reach out to us. We're really accessible as a team. We love this stuff. Me and my team have been in this space for ages, and we really want to make a difference, and we really want to be here for the soccer community. So please reach out, get in touch, use the resources that we're developing and that the community is donating to this greater cause. And also, have fun next year and get excited about it because it's going to be awesome. Yeah. World Cups are fun. It's going to be great.
You are a veteran. You would know.
Totally. It's always great.
Okay. Well, now that we know from someone who's been there, we appreciate you taking the time. You can go talk to some heads of state now.
Oh,
and,
great.
We'll do this again.
Fun. This is way more fun.
Okay. We'll do this again somewhere else really important.
Oh, amazing. Would love that. Would love that.
Sounds great.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? And O'Reilly Auto Parts is right around the corner. O'Reilly Auto Parts can help take the guesswork out of your vehicle's check engine, ABS, or maintenance light with O'Reilly Veriscan, a free service that only takes a couple of minutes to complete. You'll receive a free, easy-to-read report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans that have been verified by ASE-certified master technicians. O'Reilly Veriscan can identify the most likely problem with just one scan. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts can then recommend the parts and tools that you need to do the repair right the first time. And if you're not comfortable doing the repair yourself, they can recommend a local shop for you. Don't ignore check engine, ABS, or maintenance light. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today, a free service exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
All right, that was Lex Chalat, Executive Director of the Soccer Forward Foundation. To find out more about Soccer Forward, go to ussoccer.com/soccer-forward. So I'm back, clearly, from the United Nations. My setup here, not as nice as sitting on the East River, but my company is even better because I am with World Cup winner, U.S. Women's National Team icon, and my co-host here at the U.S. Soccer Podcast, Kling. What's up?
Hi, David. I'm so stoked that it's October. I just got my palm groomed, Sesame, and he is so fluffy and like jiggly and cute, and he smells so good. And you always get to like go in and pick a handkerchief for him that gets tied around his neck. And so I picked pumpkins, and it's like really cute on his fur, and I've been calling him a pumpkin.
I'm proud of you. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Yeah. Dad jokes over here.
Fall's number one season, right? We don't have to talk about it long because it's not debatable, correct?
Oh, are you already getting to like the red card or play on segment of the show or what?
I'm making up my own on the fly. It's the number one season.
That's a red card for me because like spring is my jam.
This is absurd. I can't believe the amount of people who actually think this is debatable. It is clearly fall. It is the number one season. The leaves are changing. You get a crisp in the air, but you still can be outside. Sweatshirt, light jacket weather. It is everything you want in life. If I could live in fall, all 4 seasons, that's what I would do. So if anyone knows of a place, that's pure fall.
I will say, I do think that fall fashion beats every season.
Yeah.
But I will, you have to remember, fall is just the earth dying. And so you're
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I will do that.
Don't do
And
that.
then you go through the cycle, of darkness, and then you're coming out into spring, and everything's blooming, and everything's new, and it feels so fresh and good. I will debate this to the grave. You get fall fashion, but I get spring as a whole, number one.
I'll give you one thing, but all good things are on my side. Well, we were going to talk about, I had the opportunity to throw on a jacket because I was in New York for the United Nations General Assembly. And I said to Lex during the interview, it's amazing the places soccer can take you. I would have never thought I'd be at the United Nations anytime, period, but especially during a General Assembly. You have obviously been in some maybe cooler places than I have, and maybe because of the game. When I say that to you, is there one thing or experience that pops to your head that it's like, wow, soccer is able to put me in this spot?
Yeah, right away when you said that, I was like, oh, when I got to meet President Obama at the White House with the 15ers, and he came in and we're all standing in the room. I don't know which room it is, but it's very cool, And he's cruising around and he's shaking everybody's hand. He's stopping in front of every single person and shaking their hand. And honestly, one of the biggest honors of my life was going there, shaking his hand, telling him how much I appreciated him being our president and how much I appreciate being in the White House and representing the country on the world stage.
That is really, really special. I would like to note on this show, when we had done our first ever red card play on and we talked about wearing a jersey with your own name, you said that you wore your own jersey to your Taylor Swift concert in celebration of winning the World Cup on stage. So Taylor Swift knows out there that she was not your number one.
Oh, 100%. I'm sorry, Taylor. I'm looking forward to your album on October 3rd. Here's some free advertising marketing. But 100%, it's got to be President Obama.
Okay. I think that's
and
totally...
I was not wearing my own jersey.
No, I think that would have been a bad look for inside the White House. Well, we've got our favorite segment of every show, which is our Ask the Pros segment coming up. But first, a reminder. U.S. soccer legend Landon Donovan is coming to Austin. Catch him live on the U.S. Soccer Podcast with us in the Insiders Lounge as the USMNT takes on Ecuador on October 10th at Q2 Stadium. You can secure your seats to the USMNT's last stop in Texas before 2026 today at ussoccer.com/tickets. And speaking of Austin, tonight is the big night. The 2025 U.S. Open Cup final is at Q2 Stadium. What a week for Austin. What a week for Texas soccer. Austin FC hosting Nashville SC. So don't forget to tune in for that game. And it is one of the biggest nights of the year. Now we can dig in to our Ask the Pros, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts. This is where you can ask questions for me, for Kling, for Ale, and we'll get back to you and answer it on the show. So the first question is for me, and it's from Mike in New York. And I kind of have a feeling that I grew up with Mike in New York, and Mike in New York is somewhere in Nassau County being like, let's see if I can make David's life as hard as possible. And it says, if you could sit down with any soccer figure, past or present, for an unfiltered conversation, who would it be and what would you ask? There's a lot of things in this one where you're like, oh, you're talking unfiltered. Are there people who have stories that we never could fully get? And this is your one opportunity. But I leaned more to the who would I really want to debate topics and ideas with and have conversations? And I think there's an obvious answer because the name itself creates the answer. And it's Socrates, one of the great players in Brazilian soccer history, was a midfield maestro for arguably the greatest soccer team in history for the Brazilian national team, big legend inside of Brazil, and led a lot of political movements for players against military dictatorship, and used his platform as a player to change the world and was constantly talking about that. And when I've read up on soccer history, especially Brazilian soccer history, he is so central and key to all of these players' experiences. And we're talking about the Zicos and the Pelés and all of these players. And he was sort of the leading voice through a lot of really tough times, but did so as a shining light as an athlete and was always trying to better himself. I believe he was a doctor as well. So like on his free time while winning Brazilian leagues and World Cups, he was like, let me see if I can get my medical degree as well. And it feels like if you're named Socrates, if I'm going to sit down and have a conversation with someone, it should be someone who's named after one of the great philosophers of all time.
No notes. Honestly, no notes whatsoever, especially since we've already sat down and had dinner together. So
yeah, you were number one. Yeah, which is why, this is O'Reilly Auto Parts. The number one thing they did was allow me to ask you the questions, and that's the space they've created. They also have Kristen in LA who has a question for you, who says, and this is perfect for you, what does being unapologetically yourself mean to you?
I do feel like I'm getting seriously deep questions.
Yeah.
On
You're
this
the
Ask the
Socrates.
Pros. I don't think I can say that yet. Maybe never, probably never, but here we go. I think being unapologetically yourself means sitting with the uncomfortable inside of you, thinking about all the parts. Oh my gosh, I don't like this. I want to change this. But then like realizing you're okay with them. And even though you want to change them maybe someday, in the moment you're okay with yourself and you feel confident that like this is who I am and it's enough. It's more than enough. And then I think the second part of it is going out in public and showing up authentically and not worrying if somebody likes you. Because even if you are worrying about somebody who likes you, there's going to be tons of people who don't like you anyway. That's just the way that the world is. So showing up, being yourself, laughing, loud as you can, enjoying all of the pleasures and life that means something to you, and not worrying about what other people think.
I love that. Wow. I'm so glad that Kristen asked this question because I feel like I have become a better person and I've learned some things. And I love that you're looking inward there, Kling. Always worrying about ourselves and what we can do for ourselves first. And then it is how it affects the rest of the world around us. If you want your own life coach in Meghan Klingenberg, then you can ask her a question as well by entering our Ask the Pros. You can drop our partners at Westwood One a DM on Instagram at Westwood One Sports. And we'll see you next time on the US Soccer Podcast. And don't forget to follow us so you never miss an episode.